Hello and welcome back to Pentiment. We are heading out to find somebody who can speak Latin, and we're going to start with Baltus. I think he's going to be the best at speaking Latin. He's the nicest person on our list. Well, maybe Sister Gertrude is nicer, but essentially he's a nice person. He'll do it. And his house is open during the evening. So, hello there. He's not here. His house is open, yet he is not around. Hello? Guess not. Okay. Well, Dr. Stoltz is not here. The rat house? Anyone in here? We haven't done a great job with the mural. It's not even painted. Unless this was the bit we were painting. That could have been it. We could be painting from right to left. Would seem odd though. But anyway. Right. Head out of here. Where do we reckon the people we want to speak to might be? Well, Sister Gertrude is going to be in the convent. Father Thomas we're not to speak to because we're not to bring him, potentially heretical material. We could speak to him, though, because he is actually here. Maybe the inn. Maybe somebody's at the inn. Hello? Anybody here? Check upstairs. So, Werner is here. I could ask him to translate it for me. It would not be terrible. We've kind of got like a frenemy situation going on here. I'm going to check with Sister Gertrude, then we're going to try Dr. Stoltz and see what he says. Right, so head along here and let's see whether we can find him. So, Sister Gertrude will be here if it's open. Now, I don't know if it's going to be open, but there's more chance of it being open for Magdalene than it was for Andreas. So, let's have a little check. Aha, it is open. Now, is Sister Gertrude here? That's the next question. Not there, not there. Carry on. In this one? Nope. Okay. What about in the prioress's house? We don't really like the prioress, but that's fine. Nope, leave immediately. Okay. Well, that means that it's gotta be Stoltz then, as the only person who is actually available who isn't Father Thomas right now. I mean, could we goad him into it? Like say, oh, I thought you were good at Latin. You know, try and can do it that way? Maybe. Yeah, maybe insult our way into a favor. I'm sure that works, somehow. Hello. Magdalene, what do you want? Hello, Dr. Stoltz. I have a book here, and I can't read it very well. I was wondering if you could help me translate it. No. But No, Magdalene, I can't be bothered by your lack of literacy. It's not stupid and I'm not illiterate. Yeah, let's be rude. Hey, it's not stupid and I'm not illiterate. God damn you, I said no. Leave. No. Alright. Okay, well, that didn't work. Now the next question is, do we think that Baltus is anywhere else during the night? I don't think he is. I'm not going to speak to Father Thomas. We were definitely warned off speaking to Father Thomas about this potentially heretical book. I'm just going to check over here. Hey, Otts, you got anything to say? No. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's around. He wasn't in the rat house. He wasn't in his house. He's probably just gone to bed. Right. Well, I guess that's what we're going to do as well then. So in here and into the Drucker house. And into the bed. Will Magdalene dream tonight? Probably not. She hasn't dreamt any other night. Right, go to sleep. Although, we have got the full sleeping animation. Potential. Let's see what happens. Nope. Also, where did my days go? Okay, we jumped like 2 weeks. Mr. Strukerin, a few more letters for you. Take care. Thank you, sir. Safe travels. The first letter is from Reverend Matthew. Hey, Rutiger's there. Mr. Strukrin, I was not acquainted with your family during my years at Kiersau. Even so, I remember your father was one of the townsfolk who prevented the peasantry from burning us alive. I'm not overly inclined to assist the people of Tassing in their endeavours to catalogue the origins of the abbey they destroyed. However, it was a long time ago. In the interests of posterity and Christian charity, I will tell you what I recall. Some time after the Romans left, Christians settled in the region and built Kiersau Abbey on the ruins of a fortress. The abbey was founded by a noblewoman of the Kiersau family. She was both its patron and its first abbess. Perhaps 2 centuries ago, Kiersau changed to being run by an abbot. I do not know the reason, but many other double monasteries did likewise around the same time. It may have been done out of fear of being shut down, as double monasteries were frowned upon by the Pope. Sadly, that's the extent of my knowledge. Your neighbours put any other records about the abbey to the torch. Sic arsit historia curis. Thus burned the history of Kiersau. While we cannot change the past, I have heard that the Sisters of the Poor Clares have formed a new chapter at the abbey. I can only hope that their love of apostolic poverty has not driven them to impoverish the shrine of St. Moritz. Christian doctrine that calls for followers to live without owning personal property or accumulating money, while it was condemned by the Catholic Church as heretical, its defenders claim their practices are based on the lives of Christ and the apostles as described in Scripture. Assuming they have not consigned the contents of Kiersau's former occupants to a bonfire, you may find something there. It is hard to be overjoyed at the news of your neighbour's late regrets. Many of the injuries inflicted 18 years ago will never heal. Regret cannot undo what has been done, but we can all find redemption through Christ. We must pray for love and reconciliation in the days ahead. In the end, that is all that matters. Winter comes swiftly. Huguenots and Lutherans plague my homeland. Huguenots, a group of French Calvinists known for their vocal and sometimes violent opposition to the Catholic Church. Lutherans, the most prominent of the Protestant branches. Lutherans were banned from propagating their ideas in the Holy Roman Empire and suffered severe persecution for their beliefs. Thank the Lord you still live in a land ruled by the one true church. I thought he switched church. No, he switched order, but it's the same church, still the Catholic Church. Yes, that's right. I hope this has been of some help to you and yours. May God keep and protect you. The Most Reverend Matthew Foy Sinje, Archdeacon of Sion. See, I think we were right addressing him as that in our original letter, rather than addressing him as formerly of Kiersau Abbey. I think that would have rubbed him the wrong way, given what he's written back. It's nice to see Rutiger is doing alright. Ah, another reply from Esther. Oh, Magdalene. I'm terribly sorry to hear about your father. My parents send their deepest condolences. If we can provide you anything from Prague, you need only send word. I know we are further away than is easy to travel, but I will see what we can do. I will see that we can do what Hashem allows. Hashem, literally the name in Hebrew. This is the way to refer to God indirectly in informal conversation or writing. Father says that he remembers no one who would want to harm your father. Yet, the night I was born, he remembers great strife in town. Perhaps there is old blood over depicting the night of the revolt. That is all he could suggest. We pray for you and your father every day in our offerings. Hashem will make all things right in time. He will exact justice on the culprit. I'm encouraged to hear that the town council let you continue the mural at all. The guilds here would protect your right to complete a job, especially once a contract has been reached. You give the men of council too much grace. Why should you be forced to settle for their old ways of thinking? We live in a new age. An age where art and science have come together. An age where all may read the works of the great sages in their own language. Truly, when your father recovers, I urge you to come visit me in Prague. But I am glad you found some joy in your work on the mural. We are all well here. Alicia has been carving a new set of wood cuttings, and father has agreed to a new contract with the university. I found Simond. His family didn't move far away after all. He's planning on working as a doctor in the city once the expulsion order ends. His parents have been meeting with mother and father quite often now. So I hope that I'll be sending good news in my next letter. With Hashem's help. Please inform us of your father's condition in your next letter. Be well. Esther. Okay. Solid letter. That's all the letters I have for now. I should head home and check on Dad. Oh, I guess that's what we're doing. Werner was supposed to come and check on Dad today. I wonder where he is. He's getting drunk in the inn. Maybe I should try to find him later. Ah, good morning, Magdalene. Good morning, Dad. Feeling any better? Your fever broke at dawn this morning. A little stronger. All things in time. Do you want anything to eat before I leave for the day? I'm working on the next section of the mural today. I'm not so hungry right now. I'll be alright. Your letter from the Archdeacon. Yes, that's right. What did you learn from him? He seemed sad over what happened during the revolt, hesitant to tell me anything. He did say the abbey was founded by a noblewoman after the Romans left. Everything else burned in the fire. How unfortunate. I know the brothers kept careful records of the monastery. So much lost in one night. The Archdeacon did suggest the poor Clares might have held on to some of the records from the convent. I should be able to learn more about Tassing's Christian history there. Ah, an excellent place to start, Magdalene. Sister Gertrude doesn't come out of the convent much, but I think it's worth asking her. Maybe Father Thomas knows something too. I should talk to him. If I recall correctly, the miller's wife has a long family history in Tassing. She may know something of the local history that the others have forgotten. Else, I thought she moved here when she married. She doesn't have any relatives in town. Not anymore. Age, illness, and marriage took the rest of her family. But the Cavessels used to live all up and down this valley. Go talk to her, I will. Thanks, Dad. Maybe something remained in the abbey's ruins. I should definitely see what's left. Magdalene, you be careful. Those ruins are dangerous. I won't go far into them, Dad. Just to take a look. Alright, wear a scarf too. It's getting cold out now. I can feel it in my old bones. Don't worry, Dad. I'll see you tonight, alright? Alright, good luck. Okay. So we're heading out. So, leave him. Go downstairs. And then we've got some investigations to do. Hello, Clara. Nice to see you're still working hard. We really did just pick up, like, you know, we just leveled up our house. We've now got a Clara forever. Okay, I'm gonna go see Baltus. Is he on our list? Absolutely not. What happened here? Well, there's coins on the ground. That's obviously a jug of wine. I don't suppose the doctor's been passed to your craft, has he? Hey, Magdalene, come to admire a well-chiseled craftsman at his best? Oh, where? I can't see one. Actually, no, I'm just gonna roll my eyes. I suppose that means no. roll my eyes even harder. Alright, you made your point. It really and truly means no. I'd roll the eyes even more, but I fear I'd accidentally damage them. And have you damaging those beautiful eyes, then? Clever boy, but not good enough. I'll take that as a Pyrrhic victory, at least. Have you come to see the repairs I've been doing, then? To tell the truth, it's not going as well as I'd hoped. What seems to be the issue? I'd assumed I'd hit a snag either when it came to the stone or the tools, or my lack of artistic skill. It's more than that. It's like, in my head, I can't see the right way. Besides, my dad wants me to help out on the farm more. I want to be there, but Grandpa taught me everything about the craft. He really wanted me to succeed. I do enjoy the work. It's as if I can talk to the stone, you know. Not literally, but see how the lines of tension flow through the rock. Understand how to form one thing from the other. How to create, make something that lasts. Grandma even offered to sponsor an apprenticeship under a master stonemason. Dad will support me either way, but I still feel like I'm pulled in both directions at once, you know? Agnes is offering Craft a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. With the right master, he could really make something of himself. He should go. His family will be alright without him, right? Okay. If you can support your family and it makes you happy, it's the right choice. When you say it, it sounds the most reasonable way, doesn't it? I still can't get away from the doubts. No one can fully escape their doubts, but don't let that stop you. God, I wish I had your confidence and fortitude. Did you learn all that from Klaus? Christ, this is hard. I don't know what to do. I think you should take the apprenticeship. We failed because we insulted the boys and then we teased them. Oh no. It's better than staying in Tassing, right? Wait, I wonder if we told him to go to the farm, whether he would have been like, no, I'm going to take the apprenticeship. You teased me. I don't know. I like it here, and I have enough experience from Grandpa to keep going. Besides, if I'm gone, there will be no one to look after the town stone. The church's foundation is in serious condition, and who's to say there won't be another flood come spring? No, I think I should stay. I'll have to tell Grandma I've made up my mind soon. Well, thanks for listening to me, Magdalene. No problem. I've got to get back to work. I'm still reinforcing the walls of the church. To be honest, I'd like to reuse stones from the ruins of the abbey, but Father Thomas forbids it, says it's unseemly. It's just quality stone going to waste. I don't get it. He's being meek, as he always is. I don't understand Father Thomas sometimes. Alright, stay well. Until later, Magdalene. Until then, Craft. Magdalene's journey so far has just been going around trying to convince people to do things and people not doing them because she has nowhere near the persuasive abilities of Andreas or the likability between the normal people. But we're going to end up with a very interesting story at the end of it. Let's head into the Steinauer house while we're just exploring. Hey, Agnes. Yeah, I failed to convince him. My bad. Hello, Apollo. Hey, Magdalene. Well, that'll be Werner. I'll see him in a minute. Right. Into the Eisenkopf house. Hello. Ciao, Magdalene. Ciao, Nazu. Come sta? Hello, Nazu. How are you? Bene, bene. Good, good. The winter is approaching quickly, no? What is it you say here? Percha, pinching at your nose. You've caught on to our customs quickly. Yes, Baltas is a good teacher. He has explained many of your funny Bavarian sayings to me. I must admit they are rather charming, even if the language is a bit rough to my tongue. Will you be staying in Tassing long enough to learn more of our funny sayings? I should return to Genoa soon, but Baltus and I still have some business to conduct. It has taken longer than I anticipated to complete. His accounts are complex. I may be forced to remain a few more weeks. Dio, who knows? Are you sure the bookkeeping is correct? You've already been in Tassing for so long. I have the feeling you might not be here for bookkeeping. Oh, yes, the numbers are perfectly correct. Baltus has many large accounts to manage, and many interests across the continent. I only wish to return to Genoa before any heavy snowfall, otherwise my journey will take twice as long. Maybe it is accounts then. I don't know. I'll let you get back to work then. Grazie, Magdalene. Until later. I'm just saying, like, the normal accountant doesn't sit in your house, you know, with half of his shirt not existing. That's just my initial take. Anyway, hello, Baltus. Do you have a moment? Only one, I'm afraid. What can I do for you? I came across a book about the history of Tassing, and I was hoping you could help me read it. Oh, no, not today. I'm far too busy for that at the moment. Nazio and I have our hands full preparing for the Christmas ale, you see. Of course, sorry to bother you. Not at all. Apologies, I couldn't be of more help. Alright, well, we're either going to see Sister Gertrude, or we're going to get the doctor. I'm going to go for the doctor. We're going to help him, and we're going to blackmail him into it. Hello, Werner. Ugh. Werner. Wake up, damn you. You were supposed to come check on Dad today. I don't have the strength to carry him home. I have to tell someone. Maybe Baltus? They're still on friendly terms. Ignazio would help. Could help. Or Big Jorg. He's strong. He can do it. Ugh, what a mess. I'm gonna go with... I could tell Apollo. Be like, hey, Apollo, do you want to help? Nope. I mean, he's literally standing there with nothing better to do. Alright. I'm not telling Jorg, because that would cause him trouble on the council. We'll tell his friend. Yeah. Hello. Hello, Baltus? Ah, hello, Magdalene. What can I do for you? I found Dr. Stoltz passed out drunk in the commons, sleeping in a ditch. Ah, I see. This is becoming an increasing problem, isn't it? I shall fetch Ignazio, and we will carry him home safely. Thank you for letting me know, Magdalene. Nod. Okay. So I'm assuming he'll just be in his home now. Let's go have a little look around. Nope. Nope. Okay, maybe he's still in town. Interesting. That's fine then. I guess he'll just be moved. He's not even moved yet. Nothing we can do. Go into the bakery. Hello. Goodbye. Oh wait, anyone else in the bakery? Nope. Alright, goodbye. Let's head this way. Also, the one thing I've been meaning to check, by the way. Just want to double check. Oh, there is no music. Okay. I had that moment when I was like editing a video. I was like, the game's awfully quiet a lot of the time. I wonder if there's like meant to be music in the background. No, not at all. Just at special scenes. Hello. Hello, Andreas. Hello. Hello. Ooh, Fabian and Ursula. Wait, I think they're brother and sister. Never mind. God bless you, Magdalene. Need something? Maybe I'm looking into the history of Tassing. I think some families have remembered more than others. Can you recall anything? No, I don't think those stories would be much use to you anyway. It's all folk tales and pagan nonsense. No place for those things in a good Christian household. Oh, alright. Is that really what you think? it doesn't matter. It's too late now to do anything about it, right? True enough. I'm sorry, Magdalene. Like you said, it's too late to do anything about it now. Well, thanks anyway. I'll see you later. Until then. Is that because we did... Wait, I thought we told her grandfather's story in the thing. Why is she mad at us? Hello, Fabian. Hello, Artemis. Hello, Otts. Hello, House. Hello, Blacktill. Hello, Eva. Nobody wants to speak to us. Christina, hello. Magda. Hello, Christina. Did you see the froggies on Sunday? I did. They were everywhere, weren't they? I've never seen so many together before. Father Thomas was so angry, but I think it's funny. Mommy says the twins did it and they're an example of children who don't follow the 10 Commandments. Well, the 10 Commandments don't say anything about frogs though, do they? I don't think so. Does that mean they won't get in trouble with God? The only ones who'll get in trouble with is their parents and Father Thomas. I don't think God cares about sneaking frogs into church. Oh good, I like them, even if the adults have to scold them. Mom scolds me sometimes too, when I do something bad. That's why I like to try to listen to her and behave and say my prayers. You're a smart girl, Christina. Thanks, Magda. Mommy says so too. I'm just, like, straight up here trying to be a bad influence to everybody I meet. Just like, hey, no, actually the frogs are good. Just see what happens. I don't know. Don't know. The consequences of my actions seem to be, like, completely random. So I'm just like, you know, we'll just throw out a few things here. See what happens. Hello, Jorg. Hello, Il Peter. You don't know anything about the Abbey? You could tell me things from before the Abbey, but nothing about the Abbey? Hello, Veronica. Anyone upstairs? No? Okay. Well, time for us to leave. And then we'll head this way. And then, I don't know, let's speak to Hans. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Hans. Did you need something? How are you doing? Fine enough. Weather's getting colder. And the family? Healthy and hard working. Simon's taking care of the winter provisions. He's a good boy, proud of him. You know how beautiful and kind-hearted Jutta is. Just like her mother. I don't know how I got so lucky. She's a miracle. She'll marry a good man soon, I'm sure. Do you have someone in mind? That young Otts is a good man, I've noticed. Otts, really? He's a fool. Maybe he acts like a boy sometimes, but he's on the town council. That says a lot about his character. All the same, when Jutta has children, one day they'll be as beautiful and kind like their mother. There are worse things to be, I guess. I had my best to raise her right, but her best qualities are all Helvig. Give yourself a little credit, Hans. Kind of you to say, Magdalene. I should get back to it. Until later. Until then. Hello, Simon. Hello, Hetty. Hello, Jutta. Goodbye, farm. And into the next one. So, Attilia's farm still empty because, well, you know. Not our fault. We kept her alive for much longer than you would expect. Hello. Okay. Hello, Brigitte. Nobody wants to speak to us anymore. Right. I can't speak to Father Thomas until I sort the book out. He's also probably mad at us. Let's go to the forest. Have a little chat to Smokey. Hello, Václav. Hello, Smokey. What's this? Nice to see some green this time of year. Horehound is one of the few plants that grows all year round. Oh yeah, I just remembered being in the forest is bad because of the boar that got shot. Yes, this seems like a bad idea. Just to wander into the exact area we were found when the boar was shot. This seems like it could only lead to bad things. Okay. Nothing's there. Wander out this way again. At least there's no boar there this time, so we can't be blamed for it. Shrine of Saint Satia. Okay, anything on it? Nope. Okay. Nothing here. Well, we'll leave. Then I guess we're gonna head to the meadow. And we'll have a little look in. Ooh, hello, Carl and Martha. It's so beautiful here, Martha. One more moment. Alright, you take your time. Oh, hello, Magdalene. Dad, look who it is. Was Martha the one who was going to be a nun? Oh, good morning, Mistress Drukerin. Oh, hello, Martha. Carl, how are you today? Our usual walk around town. November hasn't grown. Our usual walk around town. November hasn't grown too cold yet. Dr. Stoltz says Dad needs to keep using the leg, or the pain will get worse. I'm getting old. Heh heh. Not so old. You can sit around at home telling stories. You're about the same age as my dad, aren't you? Klaus has always been too stubborn to grow old. Shame what happened to him. And if you're not as if you're not stubborn too. No arguments from me there. Well, Peter survives through sheer stubbornness. Given the alternative is Werner, I'm glad to have something. Can't even find his ass with both hands. Dad. What? Anton would have made a better doctor than him. Ah, Anton, my poor boy. It's all right, Dad. I'm sorry, Carl. Not your fault, Magdalene. Just a babe, then. I can't. It's my fault he died. It's not, Dad. You know it's not. He shouldn't have been with me that night. He shouldn't have. I was a fool. Let's let him continue. The abbey was engulfed in flames. The heat, you wouldn't believe it, seared the hair off my eyebrows. I was bleeding. Anton tried to drag me out of the fight. Then that godforsaken Landsknight stepped between us. I hope he burns in hell. Mercenaries found throughout the Holy Roman Empire in service to the Imperial Army. They're known for their colourful and flamboyant fashion, their ferocity, and their short lifespans. I can't even imagine what that was like. Let's try and, get a connection. I still think of my mother every day. Nothing can make up for a loss like that. I pray I'll see him in death. Dad, it's not good for you to dwell on these memories. I know. Permit an old man his weakness. How old were you during the revolt, Martha? 7 or so. I didn't understand what was happening. Someone brought Dad home in the middle of the night. It was dark, confusing, there was screaming outside. Mom and a couple of men who brought Dad in were trying to patch up the wound, but wouldn't stop bleeding. She kept shouting, "Where's Anton? Where's Anton?" There was blood on the floor. You cried so much you threw up. We couldn't get you to stop. I couldn't understand where Anton had gone. Dad tried to explain, but... Martha, my dear, enough of that. Let's just say I'm so sorry. How did you go on? Did I? I don't know. Some nights I think I am there still. The abbey is always burning. My Helena passed not long after. I was left alone with Martha to care for. Wait for him to continue. I had to keep going for Martha, and somehow my daughter grew into a wonderful woman despite it all. I suppose that was all Helena's doing. Dad, if I'm any good, it's because of you. Thank you for telling me about the night, Carl, Martha. Time doesn't heal, Magdalene, but it does dull the ache. It's time we continued with the walk, Dad. Yes, dear. I feel much more alive now. Be well, you two. Alright, well. We were just going for a stroll in the meadow and we walked into some traumatic events from the past. Hello, Killian. Hi, Mags. Sorry, can't talk for long right now. We don't like Mags. We like Magda. Magdalene. Oh, of course, Magdalene. Didn't mean to be impolite. You've more courtesy than Otts and Apollo put together. Thanks, I guess. So what are you doing? You know, it's almost December. Preparing for the festivities is hard work. Mom and Dad need my help. They're not as spry as they used to be. Haha. At least... Oh my god. I was reading it and then I was like, ooh, a barb. And just immediately Magdalene has no chill. At least you have two parents. I only have Dad and not for long now. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't think. Nobody in this town seems to. I think people just don't know what to say. Especially because you can get like this. What do I get like, Killian? Oh god. I'm sorry. I think I should get to work. See you later. Well, another conversation ruined by the voices in our heads. Hey, Nico. Good morning, Magdalene. What brings you to the Golden Hand? I'm on my way to the Abbey. I thought it'd be helpful to explore the ruins for the mural. Lots of history to be uncovered there, no doubt. You mind yourself in that place. Could collapse any day now. I can take care of myself. I know. But I wouldn't be a father if I didn't worry. Say, Magdalene, would you mind doing me a favour on your way back to town? Anna's birthday is coming up, and I asked Gret to make her something special. Killian and I have our hands full here, so I was hoping you might pick it up. Of course, I'd be happy to help. You're a credit to your mother, Magdalene. Thank you. I'll have some of Baltus's fresh brew set aside for you when you get back. It's his best yet. I'll stop by the Alban straight away. Don't rush on my account. I appreciate it all the same. Be well, Magdalene. Until later. Well, obviously we're going to go there first, because if we go to the Abbey, there's no guarantee we'll get to do anything else. Right. We might get shot. Hello. Okay. Ooh. Who are these two very weirdly dressed people? Alexander and Kazimierz. Can't talk. I see. I'm Kazimierz, musician with Alexander. I'm Magdalene Drukerin. I live here in town. Are you Polish? Yes, from Calais. What are you two doing in Tassing? Ask Alexander. Sorry. That's a fair thing to say. Alright, I won't take up any more of your time. Thanks. God bless you. Hello, Alexander. Hello. Are you one of the burghers? My man and I are in need of refreshments. There are 3 burghers, Nico, Hannah, and Killian. And I'm not Hannah. Ah, but you could be Nico or Killian in an elaborate disguise. Truly, anything is possible. Exactly. The improbable is not the impossible, and though the incredulity may, the accomplished deceiver succeed. And through such incredulity may the accomplished deceiver succeed. I'll get the word that I was missing in there eventually. I'm Magdalene Druckeren. Ah, from the print shop we passed on the way into town. Yes, I'm running it for my father while he's recovering from an injury. Terribly sorry to hear that. I hope he has a swift recovery. Thank you. Not much business for a print shop at this time of year, is there? Nor for a land house. It looks like the travel has all dried up. So they're a mercenary? No, land house is the inn. Sorry, I was thinking of the lands knights that we just heard about. Land knights, basically. How did you wind up here? You don't look like a merchant. Ah, no, I should think not. This was just a stop on my way back to Auersburg from Padua. I'm Alexander, and this is my partner, Kazimierz. We are musicians by trade, travelers by necessity. We just purchased a new instrument for Kazimierz in Padua. The Lutherers are extraordinary. We're headed back to Auersburg for the Christmas celebration. Quite an important competition there for the Meister singers. The weather turned rotten so quickly. The rain has been awful and the roads through the passes have all been mud. I don't know if we'll be able to make it to the competition now. If the passes do close before we're able to move on, will they open up soon? Is March soon? Oh no. Oh God, no. I suppose I should plan for us to stay here through the winter. Sorry, Kaz. It's alright. Do the people here like music? Yes, of course. Excellent. Then we will endeavor to entertain you and your neighbors with our songs. I look forward to hearing it. Thank you. Until then. Well, it seems like they're going to be here a while. Or they're going to have to, like, go through the snow. Neither of which I'm imagining they would really want to be doing here. Right. Now we are going to the Abbey, but we're not going to the Abbey. We're actually going to the Convent, because we want to see Sister Gertrude. Because Sister Gertrude, well, she's the one with the Latin knowledge, who won't judge us. I should talk to Sister Gertrude since she was a Benedictine nun at Kiersau before the poor Clares arrived. She'll be able to tell me all about the convent history for the mural. Yes, we'll also check the shrine while we're here. Thought I'd just check whether there was anything to do with the hand. Alright, in we go. Hello, Sister Gertrude. God bless you, Magdalene. Hello, sister. I have a favor to ask of you. Of course, Magdalene. I'll help any way I can. I have a book, the Historia Tassii, and I can't read it very well. Can you help me translate it? I'm afraid my Latin isn't good enough to translate something like that. Its grammar structures are far too complex. I'm sorry, Magdalene. That's alright, sister. I'll have to find another way. There's one more thing, if you don't mind. It's about the Rat House mural. Oh, did you need more paint? I believe I may have enough galls stored away. No, thank you, sister. I have more than enough paint. I actually wanted to ask you about the history of Kiersau, actually. I'd like to include the Abbey's founding and the history of Tassing saints to the Rat House mural. I wrote to Reverend Matthew since he lived at the Abbey, but wanted to see the place firsthand. Ah, Brother Matthew became a reverend, did he? He was always suited to such a role. But I don't suppose that's what you came up the hill for. You're curious about the saint's history, yes? Yes, I was hoping you could show me around the convent and tell me about its history. The poor Clares don't allow outsiders within the convent, even other women. Mother Francisca wouldn't like anyone coming in for such a worldly concern. I understand. However, Mother Francisca always welcomes those who are considering joining the order. If a young woman sincerely considered joining the convent, she may be allowed to enter and observe the sisters. Who knows what else she may discover while contemplating the holy life? Well, yes, I see. Touring the convent will take some time. Would you like to go see Mother Francisca now? No. Very well, come see me if you change your mind. God bless you, Magdalene. Definitely, that's a solid no from us. If we have two choices, go to the abbey or go into the convent. 100% we're not going into the convent. There's a chance we never leave. By the way, Francisca, do you speak Latin? No. Okay. Well, time to leave. I mean, our Latin speaker community has really gone down to one person now, which doesn't seem ideal. Maybe there's a Latin speaker we don't know about. Just thought I'd have a look over here, see whether either of those were open. Yeah, I guess there aren't that many Latin speakers. I would assume that that's a story-based thing, because a lot of our Latin speakers are dead. So maybe if they weren't dead, you know, they might be able to speak Latin to us. Hello, Andreas. Hello. You can call me Magdalene, Andreas. Magdalene. Magda works too. Magda. There you go. What are you up to today? Drawing. Anything interesting? No, secrets. Oh, I see. I'll leave you to it then. Hello, Paul. Okay. Hello, House. Hello, Anna. God bless you, Magdalene. Hello, Anna. How are you? Oh, keeping busy. There's always plenty to do around the house. Where's the mural coming? Paul mentioned your progress is quite impressive. Well, I'm making steady progress. I think I'll be finished just before the new year. Oh, how wonderful. I'll have to bring Andreas and Ulrich by to see your progress. Sometime to see your progress. We won't get in your way, of course. I'm sure they'd love to learn about the process. You're more than welcome, but watch your step. There's plaster everywhere. I've just mixed a new batch to keep the wall moist. It's hard to maintain the right texture when it's so cold out. Oh, I can imagine. I had a similar problem when I helped my mother in the bakery. Rolling dough in the winter was such trouble, we had to throw out so many batches that wouldn't rise. Your discipline is admirable, Magdalene. You know, I was a real rascal back in the day. Skipped on working with my parents more times than I can count. So it wasn't Big Jorg who was the troublemaker. Oh no, Jorg has always been more hard-working than me. I was a thief and a scoundrel. Started with cakes on my mother's table, still hot from the oven. Soon it was silverware, mugs, trinkets I found around town. Ulrich's little hat once even belonged to Andreas Maler, your father's friend. I stole it from his head. Of course, stealing is against the Lord's commandments. So my father would make me return everything if I hadn't eaten it already, and march me to church to pray. Father Thomas grew accustomed to seeing me more often than Sunday mornings. What changed? I grew out of the habit over time. I think I started to see why my parents had such a devotion to the Lord. Stealing is my way of acting out. But when the trouble started in town, I realized that my thieving wasn't doing any good. I decided I'd rather honor my father and mother as God commands. It gives me grace with Andreas and Ulrich on hard days, and with the rest of the town too. That's more charitable than some people in Tassing deserve. Everyone deserves grace, Magdalene, regardless of their sins. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you have plenty of mural work to do. I'll see you later, Anna. God bless you, Magdalene. I want the hat. Magaline! Hello, Ulrich. Hello. What are you doing? Watching? Very well. Keep up the good work. Work. Haha, just like Mom. We'll work now. Okay. This side is clear. I just want to check something on our map, by the way. Yes, these are still stars. These are not investigates. Okay, cool. Hello. Magdalene, dear, what brings you up the hill? Dad was telling me your family's been in Tassing for hundreds of years. Oh, this is for the mural. It would be a pleasure to see the Mullers featured in the rat house. They've been a pillar of Tassing for generations. Though I'm afraid I only know a little bit about them. Much of that I've heard from others. Lenthart didn't care to talk about the past. I meant your family. One you were born to. Your family name was Cavezel, wasn't it? Oh. Not a soul in town has asked me about my family in years. I was beginning to think my neighbours had forgotten us. I'm not surprised your father remembers the Cavezels. He was sweet on my sister before he met your mother. I'm the last of us now. Cavezel doesn't sound like Cavezel doesn't sound like a local name. Why wouldn't it be? I'm Bavarian. It is my name, so it is a Bavarian name. No one else in town has a name like that. And shouldn't you be Cavezelin? I've always been called Cavezel as were my sisters and mother and her mother before her. My grandfather told me that the Cavezels have lived in this area for hundreds of years. Perhaps even 1,000, though it seems impossible to imagine a time so long ago. The Cavezels were pagans? No. No, 1,000 years ago they wouldn't have been pagans, because if we're in the 1500s, like, the chances of them even being Romans is, like, lowering, I think. But I think Romans is the one we're going to say. No. The Cavezels were part of the old people, the original Bavarian people. They helped resettle Tassing after the Romans left. Okay, yeah, so they weren't pagans. Because they were after the Romans left. Yeah. Okay, so neither answer was right. Built their new home right on the spot where they had been living when the Romans arrived. That's a remarkable story. It reminds me of Parzival's quest for the Grail. He was driven from the court of King Arthur and wanders the countryside honourless. He meets a holy man who brings him to God, and through regaining his honour, Parzival completes his journey to the Grail. What a lovely idea. When I think of the ancient Cavezels driven from their land only to find it again and become Christians, they feel nearer to me. Do you understand? Oh, so they were here before the Romans and then after the Romans, I think is what she's saying. Okay. I think so. It's like when my dad tells me stories about courting my mom. I don't remember her face, but when he tells me about her smile, I can almost recall it. Yes, it doesn't matter whether you really remember. When I sing my sister's favourite songs to Ulrich, I may not know all the words anymore, but that's all right. Just as I may not know exactly how the Cavezels resettled Tassing. What matters is that I feel close to her and them, even though they are so far away from me now. That is what stories are for, Magda. Now go on, you've got a mural to complete. Until later, else. Until then, Magda. Okay, well, we've now done that. We've had our story. I don't really want to go and speak to Father Thomas about this book. We were told not to. We're warned against it, but he is the only Latin speaker left in the land. Let me just check. I should ask. Sister Gertrude, no. Baltus, no. Doctor, no. Father Thomas. I guess we're speaking to Father Thomas. Maybe... Nope. Father Thomas? God bless you, Magdalene. And God bless you, Father Thomas. Do you have a moment? Of course. What can I help you with? Wanted to ask you about Tassing Saints. I'd like to represent them in the rat house. I'm thrilled to hear it. The saints will make a wonderful centerpiece for the mural. No, not as a centerpiece, simply as part of Tassing's history. Oh, of course. I consider saints to be central to Tassing's history too. Kiersau's history. Kiersau's too. But you know, there is one saint you're overlooking. Contemplate this. Why, the Blessed Virgin, of course. Mary. Many people forget that Mary is the greatest saint. And she visited one of the peasants here in Tassing centuries ago. The Virgin Mary appeared in Tassing. Why? Yes, she appeared to give a message. Centuries ago, a farmer in the fields behind us had 3 visions of Mary. In the first, she told him that she wanted him to tell the Bishop of Freising that she had appeared. The peasant travelled down to Freising, but the bishop would not see or hear him. Keep listening. The peasants returned to Tassing, and he had another vision. The peasant returned to Tassing, and he had another vision in the field. The Virgin showed him a pattern, a labyrinth. She told him to draw on a sheet of birch bark and bring the drawing to the Bishop of Freising. Keep listening. The bishop attempted to turn the peasant away, but he could see the drawing of the labyrinth in his hands. It was the same image the bishop had seen in a dream 3 nights earlier. He met with the peasant who told him of the 2 apparitions he had seen here in Tassing. The bishop was moved by the peasant's story and he came here to Tassing. When the bishop came, Mary appeared to the both of them. She told the farmer that the town needed to build this church. She told the bishop to support the town. Was the town so poor they couldn't have built it on their own? Oh, I don't know, but certainly the support of the bishop must have made it much easier. And so the bishop helped fund the creation of this church. And the people of Tassing have been using it ever since. You're not from Tassing. How did you hear the story? True, I'm not. The people told me when I came. And the former priest told them when they were children, and so on. The priest and his flock have shared the responsibility of passing on the story over the centuries. Thank you for the story, Father Thomas. Have I convinced you to include the saints prominently in the mural? I'm still considering it. Well, if deliberation fails you, perhaps you will find that prayer gives you a greater clarity. God bless you in your work, Magdalene. God bless you, Father Thomas. No, I really need to know about the book. Hello, Father Thomas. Can you spare a moment? Ah, yes, of course, Magdalene. What is it? Well, I found this book, but I can't read Latin very well. Could you help me translate it? The whole book? Oh dear, I can't afford that much time away from my duties right now. The Christmas sermon is coming up, and I've already fallen behind on Advent preparations. Would the matter wait, perhaps? I'd be happy to look over it after the festivities. I suppose. Good, good. Dead end? Well, at least the game told me. Yeah, this one. Everyone that's too distracted by their own work who doesn't know Latin well enough to read it, I suppose I won't be able to use it as a reference for the mural. Unless I can find somebody who speaks Latin. I am actually kind of worried. I think we killed every Latin speaker. I was trying to think who speaks Latin, and like most of them were either dead because they were the well-educated people who died in the revolt, or they were the Abbey people who have all left or are dead. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to the Abbey. There's no way I'm going to the convent. That much is for certain. I mean, it's not for certain because it's literally the only thing left on our list, but it is for certain. Right, Upper Abbey. Can I get in? How do I get in? I thought we were able to go into... it was definitely telling us to go into the Abbey, right? That's fine. Yeah. Poor Claire's may have preserved... Oh, no, there was nothing about going into the Abbey, at least not yet. Interesting. So we've spoken to everyone, I think. Oh, you know where we haven't gone? We haven't gone back to the bakery to grab the stuff to bring it over to Nico. That's something to do. I suppose I could ask the I was just thinking I could ask the musician if he speaks Latin. He probably doesn't, being a Polish musician, but you know, it's something to think about. He is from out of town. He might know anything. Also, like, we now have a stolen book which we can't read. That seems like a bad thing to have. That seems like we're asking for trouble. You're just gonna be there, huh? Let me see if I can, like, jostle him out. Maybe we can go and see him in the evening or something. And, like, ask him again. Nope. Okay. Well, my bad. I'll just check with that person. Okay, Central Town. To the bakery. Hello. God bless you, Magdalene, darling. And you as well, Gretz. Nico sent me to fetch Hannah's birthday gift. Ah, of course, I have it right here. Rather happy with how it came out. One of my best, I think. Ulrich would have been proud. I've always loved your pastries, they're delicious. All the process needs is plenty of love and care put into it, and God's grace, and honey. Off you go then, Nico is waiting, give them my best wishes. Until later. Okay, I guess we're going to the convent after this. Having said I will never go to the convent, I have decided that in the interest of carrying the game forward, I will in fact go to the convent. Also, I was just thinking with Brother Thomas, we didn't tell him the name of the book. I'm sure if we did, he would have been very happy to help us, given, you know, he probably knows that it was stolen. Anyway, hello. Good to see you, Magdalene. Were you able to stop by the Albans? I've Hannah's pastry here. Gret sends her best wishes. Perfect. Hannah will love this. Thank you, Magdalene. It's little things, you know. Hannah told me you asked my dad for advice once. No point in denying it, I suppose. Dad's a stoic one, but he has his wisdoms. You know, we haven't always been good to each other, me and Hannah. After the revolt, things had to change. I tried to find ways to show her I appreciate her now. Seems like a lot of work. Marriage, sure, but so is anything worth doing. I don't want to be alone in heaven. Aha. I've kept you too long. Thank you again for your help, Magdalene. Until later, Nico. Well, with that, I think it is time for us to end the episode there. Thank you for watching. Next time, we become a nun. Thank you for watching. I'll see you then. Goodbye.